happy days. Well, hello folks, and welcome back to the channel. Now, if you watched last week's vlog where I was out getting windswept and hopefully a little bit interesting on Ballycastle Beach, and of course, as I said in last week's video, I was going to split this one up into two vlogs, and so I'm still here at Ballycastle Beach, and I'm currently hunkered down in the van enjoying a very nice cup of coffee. Now, the weather has been kind of moving through. What I'm going to do now is, well, once I've finished my coffee, is I'm going to head outside and look for probably not just the intimate scene, but maybe sort of the smaller scene. Obviously, the sun now has broken the visible horizon, and so some of the foreground, it can be sort of a little bit more illuminated, a little bit brighter perhaps. Actually, just as that rain is starting as well. But I'm just taking the opportunity to warm up, grab a coffee. It's one of the reasons why I love traveling in the van. I love putting myself to the location where I'm shooting, but then also be able to just sort of step back and, you know, come and grab a coffee and warm up, and of course charge as well. I'm going to enjoy the coffee, and then we shall head out and see what we can see. Apologies for the background noise, by the way. That's the heating that's on. Necessary. Right, that rain looks like it's in for a bit, so I can slowly enjoy my coffee, and then we'll get outside. Well, I have finally extracted myself from the heat of the lovely van, and it looks like, well, at least according to the weather forecast, that we're going to get hit by some pretty gnarly weather, which I can probably see. In fact, you might be able to make it out just on the horizon there. I'm not sure how long we're going to get. Now, I've kind of wanted to shoot this rock for a while. In last week's vlog, I talked about the fact that I didn't want the foreground illuminated. Now I think I do want it illuminated with the dark foreboding clouds behind it. A little bit of a slightly longer exposure, and of course these waves rocking and rolling. So I guess I'll get straight into it here, because it looks like that rain is fast approaching. Let's get something set up. Pants, didn't get it set up in time. We've actually lost the light, the sort of reflection on the rock. However, I do now have a rainbow out here as well, but there's not really anything to shoot with the rainbow. It would just be sort of the waves and the... Oh, goodness me, there's another rainbow here. So, obviously same rainbow. Sort of... There's a little... Hang on a minute, there's a little bit of light coming through. And with that rainbow now on the horizon, that could actually give us something to shoot. So I'm going to carry on focusing on this rock. Oh, and here comes the rain now as well. Oh, we have rainbows, we have rain, we have dogs barking. It's all kicking off. Just going to grab a little iPhone shot of that rainbow. Now, the biggest issue that I have is where the sun was kind of coming through. Definitely looks like it's being covered over now by the clouds, so this could turn out to be one of the shortest shoots ever. Well, that rain's coming on pretty heavy now. Oh. So we've lost the any sort of nice light on the rock. I think there was maybe one frame with some nice light on the rock, but all got a little bit gnarly now. So we'll just wait and let this rain pass for a bit. I think rainbow panic is now over. We can get back to being a little bit more subdued. My plan is to see whether we can find maybe a couple of little intimate shots, or a couple of more, I don't know, quieter scenes maybe. But of course we will keep an eye out on the horizon for moments like that coming through. Now that rain shower has certainly moved back through. Lights back out on the Rathlin. But again, we've lost any sort of dramatic light here in the foreground. So maybe with a little bit of reflected light, we can start to look around our feet, or just some of the quieter scenes. So, right, let's take a wander up the beach. So I've just been wandering along the beach. It's not been helped by the fact that the sun is now sort of hitting areas of the beach, and while it's softish, it is creating some harsher shadows and harsher contrast than I would like. I might end up going back to the original rock that I was photographing, and if there's going to be some light on that, maybe do something there, but we'll wander along anyway. Now focusing in on a little clump of rocks. And I guess one of the benefits of that sun coming in and there being sort of areas of shadow and light is that we're actually getting some warmer tones as well as some of the cooler tones, and I think it maybe works. So I'm in a portrait orientation, sort of zoomed in quite close and just sort of picking out the little line, the little sort of avenue of the rocks, and of course just watching how those waves are actually interacting with the rocks. Now I believe we are at about low tide now. So obviously things are going to start coming back in again. Now I would love to get a little bit closer to this clump of rocks. The issue being is this is quite a shelfy beach, and probably where I want to sort of stand is probably about a couple of foot sort of lower in elevation, and there are some sort of sweeper waves coming through, and if one was to come through while I'm down there, it would probably sort of envelop my wellies, and my feet are already cold enough. So, and of course one of the things that you do that I like doing when I'm just shooting here at the coast is just have a little bit of a play, just watch to see how the waves are interacting with those rocks. And I don't think any of the images that I'm going to make in today's vlog are going to be much cop, just because of the conditions, but that's where you afford yourself that just a little bit of sort of freedom just to play about and just see what works, because again something might click. At least this is how it works with me. Something might click and you might think, okay, that scene might work, obviously with slightly better conditions. So I'll throw up one, maybe two images from this little scene, and then we shall wander on. So I've actually come away from the immediate shoreline. As I was up here earlier, I noticed, see this fence behind me? And I quite like how it's kind of a bit rickety and a bit gnarly. Now, we had a little bit of kind of reflected light coming in. There's no harsh light coming in here because there's actually a house up to my left, your right, and so we're not going to get any direct sunlight coming in, which is exactly what I want. And then you've got kind of just this. I quite like the scene. Now I think it's going to be quite complicated to kind of get a composition, but I'm going to kind of stand here now for a bit and see whether I can work something out. But yeah, this is my type of image. Again, as I think I said last week. I'll get as excited as anyone as to gnarly weather moving through in the bigger vista. But it's little scenes like this that, don't get me wrong, there might not be an image to be had, but something that sort of pricks my interest. And now I got to engage myself with the scene to see whether we can come up with something. So it's a bit messy. It's not ideal. If anything, I would like the reeds to be slightly more sort of full, more sort of fill in the frame, that would cover some of that sort of messiness. So, but we'll see whether we can compose something anyway. So one of the things I love about coming across a scene like this, as I said earlier, it really does engage me. And apologies if I start to sound a bit weird because my mouth is actually starting to freeze up. I think I'm a little bit hypothermic. Oh, it is cold, man. Oof. Anyway, so the original scene that I was looking for, and I think I'd been influenced by an image by David Ward, where you have that sort of rickety fence, and his is obviously, you know, a million times better. But once I get engaged with it, with a subject, if that particular scene isn't working, I start. There was obviously something about the scene that, or the subject, that pricked my interest. So I don't just walk away, and that was certainly the case here. And so I started to kind of zone in or zoom in on some of the more finer details, and I've come across a little sort of scene here. Now again, it might not work, but it's just where the barbed wire, there's three of the sort of fence posts, the sort of thicker one in the middle. There's just a little bit of, I guess, moss or mildew or something. And then on the left hand side, there's just this little crack, which is letting a bit of that golden light, or the sort of golden light of the grasses behind come through. There's a little bit of rust where the metal's obviously been interacting with the wood. It's an image, I guess. Now, I'm out at about 100 mil, so I'm focus stacking. But yeah, now there's a little bit of light coming down into the scene, and especially in the background there. So, but my goodness me, it is freezing, absolutely freezing. But yeah, this is one of the things I love about engaging in the smaller, more intimate scene. And what I find is, if something pricks my interest and the original frame that I was thinking wasn't working, I don't just walk away. I say, right, is there something else about this subject that I could perhaps make an image of? And that's, I think, what has happened here. So I'll throw a couple of images up just to maybe show you the progression of sort of, you know, the original frame that I was looking for, and then a couple of other ones, and then finally the one here that I've plumped for. So I need to put my head in an oven or something. Oh, speaking of which, I'm hungry as well. Right, images, and we'll wander on. So I brought myself back up to that clump of rock that I was attempting to photograph in panic mode at the start of the vlog. I kind of got an idea of how I wanted this to work, but I think this rock would work best on a completely overcast day, perhaps with some fast moving clouds or just some more textured clouds. I think what we have is one of the challenges we had. Don't get me wrong, there is some beautiful kind of cumulus clouds out there and some lovely texture, but then we've got kind of a band of blue. There's quite a big sort of shift in dynamic range between the foreground here and those big cumulus clouds, and we don't have any light on that big clump of rock at the moment. So the vision is still there, that we have some direct light on that rock, but darker sort of clouds in the background, maybe even a little bit of light on the foreground as well. But right now I just don't think it's going to work. Right, well, I am going to call it there as a vlog. I hope you've enjoyed these last 2 weeks of my little day out at the beach. Ballycastle Beach, it's not that frequented. A lot of people will head straight to, you know, a lot of the other areas on the Causeway Coast. I think Ballycastle Beach is one of the little gems along here. There's so much to do. You've got the lovely bigger views. I've talked about this before. Here in the North Coast, it can be challenging to get some interest out on the horizon. Of course, you've got Rathlin out there that helps. Some lovely pebbles for the more abstract. And of course, plenty of fun and games with the tide as well. Just be mindful if you come here. It is a bit of a shelf beach, and well, just be mindful. Right, well, I was going to say I'll throw up another image from today, but I guess I don't have any more, so I won't throw up another image. Yeah, disappointed that isn't going to work today. I'd kind of say I had a vision, but I'll keep coming back here, because I'm sure at some point over the next couple of weeks we are going to get a more overcast day, and that will allow me to maybe realise that vision for that particular scene. Right guys, well, once again, thanks a lot for following along, and until next time, take care, bye bye.